So, I want to cover a topic in this video about the difference between somebody being a dismissive avoidant attachment style or even just a fearful avoidant and somebody actively being breadcrumbed in a relationship, a situationship, a dating experience. And I want to distinguish the difference because it's really important to recognize. So when somebody's dismissive avoidant or fearful avoidant, they can be hot and cold. Dismissive avoidance especially will be, lukewarm and cold the vast majority of the time. And it's because they're slow to warm up. They take longer to establish a connection. But if a dismissive avoidant is interested in you, they will make an effort. They will see you every weekend or almost every weekend, of course, with certain exceptions. If they're a single parent, you're doing a long distance relationship, things like that. But there will be consistency there. They will initiate plans a lot of the time. They may not say, "Hey, I've planned this whole date out for you," but they will say, "Hey, what are you doing on Friday? What are you doing on Saturday? What's going on for this weekend? What are you up to this week?" Like they will be initiating contact plans. They will get back to you the vast majority of the time, like 90+% of the time. If they don't, they will often acknowledge. But if somebody is like not interested, there's incompatibility, they're too far in their fears minus their feelings to actually make an effort to see the relationship through, to move the needle in the relationship because maybe they've got a lot of subconscious core wounds or healing they need to do, then they will breadcrumb you. And breadcrumbing looks like these next four things. Number one, there's lots of inconsistency. It's like the consistent is the inconsistency. You won't see them a lot of the weekends. They may not make plans, during the week. And of course, there are certain exceptions to this. Like I mentioned earlier, if somebody's doing a long distance relationship or if somebody's a single parent, they just got a new job or they're working two jobs, there can be certain degrees of like exceptions to this. But when you're being breadcrumbed as a general rule, you won't see somebody every weekend or during the week at all. Or, there won't be some kind of consistency of seeing each other. And I think at a bare minimum, it should be a standard in relationships for everybody of all attachment styles to at least see somebody once a week. The second thing to look for is that there will be last minute plans that they'll commit to, but they'll almost never initiate. So it's not that, one thing to just be really clear about the differentiation here. Dismissive avoidance may not plan things out in detail, but they will plan to get together with you. Like they'll say, "What are you doing tomorrow?" Or "What are you doing this weekend?" As I was sort of mentioning earlier. But when you're being breadcrumbs, perhaps by a dismissive avoidant or anybody of any other attachment style, where they're not really ready, willing, or interested in investing in the relationship, instead, you'll see that they don't even take action. It's like, if anything, they'll respond to your plans at the last minute, maybe the day of, late the night before for the next morning, more often than not the day of, and be like, "Yeah, I'll be there," or "Yeah, I'll let you know tomorrow," or "Yep, sure, see you in a couple hours." Like it won't be an initiation. It will be, and you'll feel it almost like it's like a last resort. Like, hey, they couldn't find anything else to do. So they decided, "Oh, it's fine. I'll do this." And we'll talk about what to do about this in a minute, because I don't think it's acceptable to be on the receiving end of this. The third thing is that they won't call back and they won't acknowledge that they didn't call back. If somebody's not breadcrumbing, if they're a dismissive avoidant and they don't like talking on the phone, if they're a dismissive avoidant and they have fears and they can be more on their avoidance side and things like that, but they're interested in a relationship, they will call back. They will, or if they don't call back, they'll say, "Hey, sorry, I can't chat. Can we pick back up tomorrow?" Like they will acknowledge it 99% of the time, 95% of the time, maybe more accurate, but still vast, vast majority of the time. If you're being breadcrumbed by somebody instead, then it's like they won't call back at all. They won't bother. They won't even feel the need to acknowledge that they didn't call back or to communicate with you about it. And then another big thing to watch for, number four, and then again, we'll talk about what to do, is that they may text you back, if you're texting back and forth, when it's too late to actually make plans. So maybe it's Saturday and you're texting back and forth all morning or through the afternoon. And then at 2:30, you're like, "Hey, let's do this tonight. Do XYZ, whatever it is that you want to do." And then they'll go missing. And then they'll text you back at like 9:15 and be like, "Oh, hey," and you can tell that they were avoiding having the conversation. Dismissive avoidants are avoidant. They're slower to warm up. They need more time alone. They can be withdrawn. They don't often love talking on the phone. But if they're interested, they'll be there. They'll still make the effort. So I think it's really important to acknowledge these things. And, when it comes to what to do about this, Have your standards in line early on. Know what's okay for you and what's not. You may be really interested in somebody, have feelings for them, but it should be a non-negotiable to not see somebody once a week. I get it too if you live 2 hours away or if somebody's going through a really tough time. Okay, maybe you see somebody once a week, that's the standard. And maybe once in a blue moon, there's an exception for that, and that's fine. But there should be baseline things that you decide that you want as a person that are okay for you and not. And so then rather than worrying about if you're being breadcrumbed or the person's interested or not interested, you're not looking to gauge the other person's point of view or feelings for you in order to make your decision. You're clear from the inside out what your needs are, what you're willing to accept and not. And so, irrespective of the reason that somebody's not calling back or not texting enough, this either meets my standards or it doesn't. You don't have to know all the reasons why or why not. You don't have to know their attachment style versus breadcrumbing. You just know this is the baseline of things that I'm willing to put up with. I'm having these conversations with people that I'm dating. I'm communicating my needs and letting them know if something's not really meeting my needs. And if the person doesn't show up, doesn't move the needle, you don't see a powerful change in the relationship dynamic after communicating, then okay, my standards aren't being met. My needs aren't being met. These are non-negotiables for me. I'm not going to continue on any further. And then it's clear and it's easy to make that decision. And if you find yourself feeling really stuck around this, you should ask yourself, like, what fear-based beliefs do I have about being alone or abandoned or rejected that are chaining me to a relationship that's not serving me, that I'm clear based on evaluating my standards and non-negotiables is not serving me. And that's something you want to dig into and take a look at. So if you want to do a much deeper dive into this, learn your standards, your needs, your non-negotiables, recondition the fears that may be holding you back or chaining you to a relationship that's not serving you, check out for free for 14 days using the free trial link down below, the how to master the dating stage of relationships. So much of it is about how to feel confident and get all of your self-esteem going into dating, how to really get more second dates because you know how to address dating, but most importantly, you know your standards, you're clear on what you're looking for, and you're intentional. And you reprogram the fears that could cause you to be afraid of dating or afraid of leaving things that are not serving you. So I hope this makes sense. I hope this answers some really important questions. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying the content, and I will see you in the next video.